Hey guys, it's me coming on again. Hope you're doing well, doing swell, feeling blessed wherever you may be. It's Monday. So for those of you that watch me, I've been kind of tied up. My son, his teeth were coming in. So it's been a trying week, in and out of fevers and sickness, as those parents out there may already know. All of us and all of you have a secret. Every one of us has a secret. And that may be a secret wish, a secret want, a secret life, a secret existence, a secret lover, but we all have one. And what I want to say is that the main secret that a lot of us have is this epitome self or epitome version of a life or wish that we all truly want deep down inside. And for most of the time that I've lived on this planet, I always felt like my secret was one that was unattainable. The secret of myself, the secret of my existence, the secret of my potential, the secret of my soul. And I didn't really harness the true capacity. I had a connection, but I didn't harness the true capacity of what God's energy is in myself. And or for those of you out there, maybe you guys ask and you guys wonder and you guys tell yourself over and over again that it's something unattainable. So a lot of us don't realize that we feel like we're so disattached from God. And what is God? Okay? A lot of us ask this question, what is God? The best explanation I could say, as someone who has actually met God, and I really don't know if anyone believes that, but it's my truth. Aside from what I saw and aside from what I felt, what I did know is that the first resonance that I felt through the whole experience was within me. It was something that was so intrinsically true to myself. It was a feeling of connection that was always there, that I ignored most of my life. And when it broke through and into the physical, through my inner self out to the outward self, there was this intrinsic understanding that God was within me. And not just myself, but in all of us. And I'm definitely not the first to say this. Many people say that God is within. You know, for those of you that follow the Bible, for those of you that... I use the Bible sometimes to make it easier for those out there. Or I use sometimes the parables or the stories or the verses to kind of commemorate what I'm saying. But because I am a 316er... meaning that was my number from the very beginning of my existence on a spiritual journey back when I was 14. I made it a point to kind of read a lot of the 316s within the Bible and kind of take heed of what they meant. And one of them was Corinthians 3:16. Okay, and this speaks to the fact that in Corinthians, it's very made aware that there's an asking of if we know ourselves. Do you know yourself? And do you know that you yourself are God's temple? That's the line in Corinthians 3:16. And to truly know that God's Spirit dwells in the midst of you is what that verse speaks to. So this is a connotation within the book that everyone holds so dear. There are other ones, even like, let's say with Luke, where Jesus himself even comments on this and says that the kingdom of God is within all of us, or within you, as the line goes. And even times that Jesus was talking to John, being one of the only apostles that made it and wasn't martyred, there was a lot of conversations that took place with Jesus and John, as you can see in the end times as well. But even Jesus regales John with a passage from the Psalms, where it's like, he's saying that for us to not understand the reverence of who we truly are, let's look to Psalms, 84. And it clearly states in Psalms that he says, or not Jesus says, but the referral to, is that the line is God's of the one God, or the one God who performed and gave birth to gods, in a sense, or the God of gods. So what does that say to us as the human beings, those that were created, crafted in this God's image? The one truth that I took away from understanding where my pathway was, like, in my past, I didn't understand what it meant to have God within myself. And as I was given this second opportunity by the Almighty to be on an ascension journey with all of you guys, the truest thing I can say is that God is within you, meaning you are also God. And a lot of people could be like, oh, that's blasphemy, but truly, to deny yourself what you are in the name of God and say to your Father who created you that you are not which he created, he, she, as the all-encompassing, you are kind of denying your biggest gift and asset given to you by God, him herself. So the blasphemy actually lies within that. So if everything is inside of you, a lot of us end up spending our time always looking out. I know this firsthand. I have a lot of friends, family that feel the exact same way. They look at me and they say to, how can you feel this way? Or how do you know? Or how do you, and I've had these talks with my family. But the reality is that all I said was like, once you take a hold of your truest self, meaning the truest you, that secret that is within you, God buried a secret within you. And once you reveal that secret to yourself and say, it can be mine, you start to realize that you and God always had this path laid out for you. Like, what I mean is that, for example, you could have a dream of, it could even be something simple like, I want to live off the coast of the Amalfi Coast, and I want to become a fisherman and live out my days with my family. That could be your little wish or dream or secret that you have inside. Yet you're like a neurobiologist that has crazy hours, you don't have a wife, and you don't have a dog or a family at the moment. And you think to yourself, like, that's your little hidden dream inside. Even though everything around you and your whole world isn't really gearing you towards that, or you don't see how it's possible given the parameters of your existence. You would say, like, what am I, give up my security? Do I give up my job? What do I do? Now, the thing is that particular neuroscience, and it doesn't have to be a neuroscientist, it could be a cook, it could be anyone, it could be you. You are given that secret and that desire and that dream, whatever it may be. You and God share that together. And every single tool that you need to acquire that is within you. So that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize, that when they are ascending or trying to achieve their most greatest self or oversoul, you are actually fulfilling your truest purpose here. And that's the thing that a lot of people get stuck on. They don't really understand that everything they need and desire is within themselves. Because a lot of people look up, they look out, they're waiting, they're hoping, they're praying, but at the same time, it's like, go right ahead. Go do what you need to do. We all have this going on in our lives. A lot of us have this going on in our lives. We even have, like, I'll give you an example, like, to see how you could understand what the relation with Spirit and God must feel like. Okay, for example, let's say, like, I have a lot of friends that have issues just like anyone else, right? And I'll give you an example. This one friend of mine, she would always call me and be like, oh, I'm in so much debt. I have, at least $80,000 worth of debt, and I don't know what to do, and why does God put us in these situations? So you have to understand, I laugh because I wouldn't laugh at her. I laugh kind of with her because I'm like, well, you have, in my mind, I'm like, you have every capability or every skill to make this change. You know what I mean? And whoever this friend is to you that you also have that complains or doesn't see the error of their ways or doesn't see out of their particular problem, right? And you sit there and you're like, well, if you didn't eat out all the time or go to fancy restaurants or dress your 3 children in Jordans all the time, you could maybe save some more money. You know what I mean? And with that savings of money, you could maybe put down more on your credit. There's possibilities in everyone's life to do better. And there's possibilities in everyone's life to get out of the jams they're currently in. The problem is that a lot of us spend our time looking out and expecting this miracle. And it's not to say that God can't perform miracles, but God's waiting for you to be the miracle or to be the transformation or to be the motivated vessel in this existence. Like, God made you so that you could act. God made you so that you could do. And the thing is like, just like my friend that I mentioned, she has a lot of different tools and skills and things she could be doing to help her situation out. And that's the same when you're dealing with God and spirit. It's like you yourself possess almost every skill you need to have your secret. The only difference between the people that go after this secret or this identity or this internal flame of desire within themselves is because at one point they realize that God and them are unison, mano y mano. Because it's like as if for a moment in time you say, I can have what I desire. I can have this secret become a reality. And a lot of you just look at me blindly saying, oh, but, oh, but, oh. And that's the problem that a lot of us are facing. We don't want to put the actual work on ourselves. We're looking for a solution, an easy solution to our problems. And the reality is that, I will say it like this. How many of you are terrified to go after that secret or dream? If you want, raise your hand. You don't have to tell me. You can write it in the comments. But a lot of us are terrified of this dream because of what it will mean, the changes that will have to occur, the big strides, the big losses. We're terrified because safety, security, what we know is so much more endearing sometimes. But that's not the secret that you hold with God. The secret you hold with God is more thrilling. The secret you hold with God is going to take some effort on your part. God will be there every step of the way to provide you with what you need further as you climb. It's like you have the skills to get to where you want to get from A to B. And then when you get to B, God will be like, oh, here's something to help you to get to C. And that's how it goes forward with God when you are, trying to unravel that secret self or that secret within yourself. And what I will say is that I'll give you an example of why this is something that you should or maybe want to challenge, or you could relate it to. What I could relate, having the faith or the leap of faith in God that we all need to do in our lifetime. Because it's one thing to go to church, but it's another thing to actually walk with God. Because like I said, you have this innateness in yourself. You don't need the building. You don't need the pastors to tell you what your relationship is with God. That is personal to yourself. And let's say you go to these places for inspiration. That's fine. Maybe that's what you need. But please know, you will never, ever, ever find God in someone else. Because it's impossible. Because it's in you. Your direct cohesion to God, if you could look at it, all of us like a harp, your particular string, your particular vibration, your particular mission, or your particular secret is one so unique to God and you. So to go outside of yourself to look for something that is within you, or to look outside of yourself to get answers to something that you've already innately understood and know, is going to be putting you into circles that you'll never find resolution to. So what I would say is like this. If you are terrified to take this leap of faith, think of a time that you maybe were in love, or probably in love, or had love for another person. And it was like you guys meet at a bar or a club or a restaurant from across the room. And you know deep down inside you're attracted to this person. You don't know them, but you know. And that butterflies feeling comes into effect. Now, you have two choices. At that very moment, your secret is that you want to either be picked up or you want to pick up the person that you're seeing. This is something that is innate. It's ingrained, right at that moment. That's a secret to you. You're not showing it to the world. You're not expressing it. It's something that God knows about you too. And what I'll say is that, let's say, for example, you're on the party or the receiving end. Either way, it's terrifying. But what is great about it is that should you be the person who receives or does the picking up, once you do it, and let's say, for example, it goes well and the person reciprocates, the thrill of that achievement is where God is found. Because you went after something you truly desired. You went after something that was going to make you happy. And it's a very small example, but that is the type of fear I'm talking about. It's like, it's terrifying to do, much like all the other things you need to do in order to have your truest existence come into play. Like, and most of us, and this has nothing to do with money. This has nothing to do, I mean, maybe for some, but a lot of us, it's just reaching our highest potentials as a light being or a light bearer on this earth. And what I can say is that if you do feel that thrilling feeling, or that, you know, lighthearted, beautiful, triumphant feeling, imagine what it would feel like to do that for your own secretive dream. That one that you had from the beginning of the moment that you created it. It stayed dormant, it's been dormant, or it's always revived here and there when you saw, let's say, newsletters or even some advertisements that trigger that feeling inside of you, and you'll feel it. You'll feel like, oh, there's that secret again. You're like, oh, I wanna go after it. And it could be anything. Like for myself, it's to be a humanitarian. For myself, it's to bring my healing to the world, you know, and probably more than that once that secret reveals itself to its fullest potential. But I know that it was a hard road to even get to the point I'm at now, where it's like I had to take these leap of faiths, you know, not just by getting rid of friends or family or acquaintances, or just aligning my vices, aligning my lifestyle, changing it fully, to even letting go of my old career, to morphing so many different things within my own life. And I can only speak to my own life, right? But for yourself, what you're going through, this secret is so innately strong inside all of you. And that is where God lies. Just getting giddy about it, just even if you're too frightened at this point to even really take the first step, just research it. Just get a taste for it. Just open your mind to the possibilities of what it could be or feel like to actually have your biggest goal or wish or dream or secret unravel itself. Because God is obviously something that is too magnificent to describe. But what I will say, as all vessels of her greatness, it is our duty in some senses to walk in our fullest potential, because the blueprint or the existence that lays behind our soul is so grand. And by minimizing the grandness that we are is, like I said at the beginning, some form of blasphemy. You're not giving yourself the highest potential that it is for you to be. And in itself, it's intrinsically the most saddest thing. It's just like, if you could imagine when you meet people that were like really smart or really driven, and then they end up doing nothing with their lives. You just say, oh geez, they had all the potential. And that's truly what God also feels for us in some ways, because we have all the tools. We have every single capability. If you're somebody that feels like, oh no, I don't have this skill. Well, you know what? You have the skill to write penmanship. You have the skill to write. You have the skill to download an application. You have the skill to mail it in. You have the skill to maybe email it in. Every capability might start off not being the capability or the asset or the skill that you truly want to possess, let's say, but you have every other skill and capability to go get it. And that's the point. The point is that nothing is out of reach. The point is that nothing has been said no to you. The only thing that is said no to you is you. So in this time where a lot of us are trying to learn to grow in this spirit, to grow in God's grace, to grow in our own God self and sense, what I would say to you is just take the reins yourself to even attempt. Stop looking up and look within, because truly you are God's temple sitting here looking at me right now. We all are. We all have something that is a secret between you and God. So have a good night, guys. Love you lots. If you have any questions, please drop me a line. If you do like what I'm saying, please like, share, subscribe. I really do love you all, and I hope you have a lovely Monday.